Hey, Chris Liepe here with the vocal evolution of Scott Weiland. If you're like me, you were pretty astonished to get into the dead and bloated vibe of Scott Weiland, and then hear something like A Song for Sleeping and go, is this even the same singer? Everything sounds so different. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video, going through Dead and Bloated and parts of Song for Sleeping, and we're going to talk about Scott's different approach, different placement, energy levels, the way he pronounces certain things. And studying vocalists like this is huge for our own singing, because it's the same guy, but he's two very different characters. We're all capable of doing this. We're all capable of leaning into a particular style, but more importantly, particular resonances and ways to produce sound that sound natural both ways. It's all about the pursuit of character rather than the pursuit of having simply a good voice. If you pursue character and variety with your voice, you'll be able to have a good voice without trying to have a good voice. And this is something I work on a ton with all of my voice students. If you're interested in becoming one of my voice students, the best place to start with me is by clicking the link below and joining my free voice course. I'll help you how to dial in some of the basic foundational ways you can create great sound with your voice. And then from there, there's all sorts of ways we can work together. Let's talk about his placement here. Highly compressed, lifting something heavy. But there's also this nasality. I am smelling like a rose. I'm exaggerating it, of course. But there's this nasality, there's compression, and there's a bit of tongue cupping, as was sort of the norm for a lot of vocalists in this era, at least how Scott Weiland was doing it right here. Well, we've got the back of the tongue raised at the same time we have the soft palate sort of dropped. So it's not I am, but we're long and we're putting the tongue up. I am smelling like a rose. That gives us that sound between compression and having this sort of R posture. I am. That's what we get. And yes, I am going overboard to demonstrate the way it sounds. I realize that. But if we exaggerate both of the characteristics we pull out of Scott's voice in these two songs, it's going to help us get to the bottom of why he sounds so different. Bloated! You really get that sense for the compression there. And not and bloated. No. Lifting something heavy, creating that high false chord engagement. And bloated I am. Now let's put this up against A Song for Sleeping and his initial approach there.
Finally I met you. Day has come. You're more than beautiful, and you're my sun.
You're more than beautiful, and you're my sun, and you're my sun. Now, if we were to sing that line like Dead and Bloated Scott, and you're my son, and you're my son. Well, let's go back to A Song for Sleeping, and you're... The difference is this. Well, there are many. And this sound is much more forwardly placed. And he's placing it in his mask. He's getting his teeth out of the way a little bit, so his resonance can be very forward and bright. This is conscious. He's a completely different character here. And you're my son, and you're my son. That resonance is back. It is more nasal, and you're my son. The nasal cavity is open in this back-placed, tongue-cupped sort of posture. And here, and you're my son. The nasal cavity is still open, but the sound is placed more here and less here.
I don't deserve this. I never thought it could be.
I never thought it could be. Also notice how light he is. If we're talking about airflow, he's not compressing near as much. My guess is that he's about as loud singing like this as he was this, like this. And he's able to be roughly the same volume because of the way he's managing his air. He's not holding back more air on a song for sleeping. He's letting that air come out in the form of forward resonance. And in the Dead and Bloated Scott Weiland, the resonance is happening further back, which is dampening the sound a little bit and creating a darker tone. But if we go back and forth on never thought it could be, super light, notice how he almost goes up. You can certainly hear in the harmonies how he almost goes up into his head voice. It's almost a thin mix. Never thought, not head voice, but right on the edge there. Never thought it could be. Versus never, 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 I am, never thought it could be. So much heavier. Never thought it could be. Try this stuff along with me. It's not hard to do. You just have to consciously place your notes and intentionally place your resonance in different ways. You'll be amazed the different sounds you can get out of your voice, just like Scott.
I like the moment when you first smiled at me.
I'd also like to point out, moment. There are times in this style of singing where he is intentionally taking his resonance out of nasal access. Moment. There's almost this bit of plugged nose, but it's not drastic or bad sounding at all. It's very pleasant. But when you contrast that to what he's doing in Dead and Bloated, there's no bones about this backward resonance and the accessibility to his nasality.
Truth is wonderful, feeling like I've never seen. If you know what it's you.
What a beautiful representation of head voice in that harmony. What's neat is even in the lead line, as he teeters on head voice and uses that vibrato to sort of bridge the gap in his break. A lot of people want to know, like, how do I get rid of my vocal break? Well, pursuing the right pressure, the right airflow management right around that break and using vibrato to feather in and out of that narrow area where you could be in chest voice or head voice is very useful. Yeah. There's a very constant amount of air going in and out of this area where I would otherwise be very vulnerable. He's using a lot of compression, and so when he tries to blend his different resonances, you're going to get that. But if you're singing lighter, you're not using compression, you've got forward placement, and you're in touch with the way your vibrato can work right around your break, you get this really smooth way of engaging. And it's wonderful. Try singing quietly in the car sometime and just musing over your break. This is what he's doing here, and it's beautiful. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. That line's great for dialing in the placement and the compression. Not, oh, yeah, yeah, or like he might have sung it closer on the other song, or even more like this. Oh, yeah, yeah. Versus, oh, yeah, yeah. I can't express this enough, that it's more than just singing louder or softer. It's about intentionally placing that resonance in different places. We have the ability to go over and make all sorts of different tones by where we learn to adjust minute muscle and tissue differences and exploit those differences for different tones. You could say the same thing. La, 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 You can do so many things. If you can explore those fringes and those extremes with your own voice over the same sorts of contexts, you can go crazy when it comes to entering into slightly different character settings with your voice over different musical styles. That's what Scott's doing. Hold back air. Open up the nose. Growl. So he slides off of that. He's adding more intensity, still holding back air. Sing, yeah! Let's head back over to the other version of Scott.
And when you lie, don't sleep, I'll protect you from.
So there, when he's going up, I'll sleep, he did not increase his airflow and remain in his chest voice. Don't sleep. If we take don't sleep like he did with the other song, don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep. All about a very intentional, differing approach.
Demons of the night, while I'm watching you grow.
Now there he's adding more compression. While I'm watching you grow. But notice how bright it is? That's because of the placement. This is not, while I'm watching you grow. It's, while I'm watching you grow. It's almost like I feel the vibration. I'm channeling the energy right here as opposed to right here. And I feel it in the front of my head, even when I'm singing lower like that. But it has this bright sheen, even in the midst of adding compression to this. It's a cleaner compression. Grow, not grow, but backing off before the grit happens. Grow. And then you could go into this or this and have it be clear. Access your head voice. Be both characters. I'll run through the world thinking about tomorrow. Thinking about tomorrow. Oh, there's some really cool things going on with his voice right here. World slide. Very open, low larynx position with that sort of cupped tongue. World! World! Lot more volume here, but also a lot of compression. Let's put this in the different Scott Weiland character. I run through the world thinking about tomorrow. I run through the world I'll run through the world thinking about tomorrow. I've cherry-picked certain parts of each of these songs to illustrate these vast contrasts. But the good news is, you can do this kind of thing too, drawing from Scott's amazing inspiration. Leave some comments. Let me know in what ways this video helped you unlock different ways your voice can work. And leave also suggestions about other singers you'd like me to do this same thing with, comparing and contrasting different styles that they use on different albums or different eras of their creativity. Again, if you'd like more help with your voice, more personalized instruction for you, the best place to start with me is by joining my free voice course. We'll see you for more.